Hello and welcome to Brayflox's Longstop. Turn on tank stance, eat some food, and let's go. So the first pull for this dungeon, you're going to hug the left side of this stream, and you're going to fight generally right in front of this log. What should happen, looks like Rob is thinking about going there, is someone, a DPS, is supposed to go up that hill and fetch the key from the NPC so we can move forward. This is enough for the first pull. And while we're here just tanking some stuff, just want to say watch this video to the end, because this is one of the dungeons where the way that you go matters. There's a lot of ways to make this dungeon longer than it needs to be, and I know how to make this as short as possible. So stay tuned, watch the video, and you'll see the best way to tank everything in this dungeon. So the first pull is done. Looks like the key has been retrieved by somebody else in our party, and then we just move right over here to this gate. It's only 3 dudes, and you just pick up aggro on them in whatever way you would like. I used ranged attack, provoke, ranged attack, or you could do an AoE to pick up aggro on all 3. Once you kill these 3 dudes, you open the gate, and you're at the first boss. It's pretty fast. For the first boss, there's not really a whole lot to it. He does spawn with 3 adds with him, so you generally start this fight with an AoE attack, and then just pick up aggro, and then just big numbers on the boss. You don't really have to worry too much about the adds. If you want to continue to use your AoE attack, that's fine, but most people for this dungeon will just focus the boss and burn him on down. The extra adds plus the boss generally do not deal enough damage to you to kill you, so just burn the boss down as quickly as you can. With the first boss dead, you're going to head into the next pull. This would be pull number 3, I believe. And this is the first part in this dungeon where you could technically go the wrong way. So follow what I'm doing here. I'm going to pick up aggro on those 3 guys, and I'm going to bring them over here to the next 3. So it's a total of 6 mobs that we're attacking. I'm going to get aggro on everything, I'm going to use my AoE abilities, and then I'm going to use whatever cooldowns I have available. This is a good spot to use your defensive cooldowns, because you only need them right here. This is 1 pull, and then you're at the next boss already, if you do it correctly. So use your defensive cooldowns here, and fight right here in front of the bridge. Once you kill all of these, once you kill these 6 mobs, what you're going to do is go over that bridge right here, and you're going to hook a hard right. Do not go straight and up the hill. You don't need to do that. Go hard right, and you're here at the first boss. The second boss. There are a lot of folks, and they're out there that don't know that. They'll go on adventures and go up that hill, which is, fine. It adds a very minuscule amount of time to the run, but it's completely unnecessary. And if you're trying to be efficient, just hook that hard right and go straight to the second boss. You don't need to go anywhere else. For the second boss, there's not much to this. It is generally a tank and spank, as most bosses are at this lower level. Around, I don't know, 50% through the fight, maybe a little bit more, 60% through the fight, that extra add is going to spawn and start chasing around that little duder. All you need to do is just pick up aggro on the add and continue to burn the boss down. So once you see him, you can press tab to select him, use your ranged attack, and then he will be on you. Keep an eye on him. That's really where I'm looking right now, is just to make sure that he continues to attack me. If he changes his target and decides to attack someone else, I'll select him and then use my ranged attack again to bring aggro back on me. You generally want to focus the boss down here, and then once the boss is down, you can go ahead and kill the add, which will bring you on to the next pull in this dungeon, which is one of the harder ones. So this pull right here is very tricky. There is a right way and a wrong way to do this whole area here. You can do this in 2 or 3 pulls, but what you want to do is try to stay in the middle of this island here and keep the water on the outside. If you stay in the middle, you should generally be safe from everything that is on the outside of you, with the exception of a couple of patrols. You can see the patrols there that are in the stream. They will go back and forth. For the first pull, I like to stop right here before we cross the river. And the reason why is because if people are not playing super tight, which they generally aren't, they will create adds, which now we have here. If I had pulled to the next section or to the island over there, we'd be dead. It'd be an overpull, we'd get trained, and we would have died. So stopping here is just fine. You can use one defensive cooldown if you want. You don't need to go crazy here. But once you do this first pull, your next pull is going to be straight across this river to right in front of the third boss's entrance. You want to pull the patrols, pull everything here, and try to fight on this island. In theory, I mean, I'm going back over here to get these extra adds that we have. And now that we have all these adds here, I am going to use a few more defensive cooldowns, and I'm going to fight on the island. In theory, if you wanted to fight right at the boss's wall, you could do that. That would make things safer, but right here is okay. But there are other folks on the team, or part of this group rather, that trained us, got us a few extra adds, and that will happen here no matter where you go. If you go left, if you go right, you're going to get trained in this area. So the safest bet is to head down the middle and watch for those patrols. And that's how you do that section. Moving on to the third boss, nearly a tank and spank. There's not really a whole lot to this guy. He has one little AoE dodge. There's one ability that he has that puts one of your teammates in a timeout. I believe it's called Queer Bubble or something like that. But the person who is bubbled can attack the bubble themselves, so you don't need to switch your target. The person who gets put in the bubble can just break themselves out. So no need to worry about that. There it is. There's the bubble. No need to worry about the bubble or anything like that. If you want to attack it, you can. It doesn't hurt, but I like to put all my DPS on any of the bosses just to minimize the amount of time that we're in these dungeons for. Once the boss gets down to roughly 25% health, somewhere in there, Ayatar, if that's how you pronounce the dragon's name, is going to fly down from the sky and crush this poor lizard. So it looks like it's a little bit lower. Yeah, around 20%, whatever. He's going to fly down and crush the lizard. You're going to switch targets and target the boss. And then you're only going to attack him for a little bit. He will eventually fly away after a very short battle, and then you'll be on to the final pull in this dungeon. The last pull in this dungeon can be done wall to wall. If you're not confident in your healer, you can pull those three and then stop right here on the other side of this bridge. My healer is great, so I'm going to pull all the way to the entrance of the boss's chamber. As you can see here, there's a lot of dudes, so I'm going to use all of my defensive cooldowns now and continue to AoE. This is how this pull is supposed to go. You should be able to go from the bridge to this location in front of the boss's chamber and just AoE everything down and kill everything. My healer is good, so I know that we can get away with this and we can do it. And I also had our defensive cooldowns up, so we can do it. It's not a problem. Again, if you didn't feel confident in your healer, or for some reason you don't have your defensive abilities, you can break that section up into 2 pulls, but one's good too. And here we are at the final boss. As usual, turn around and make sure nobody in your party is watching a cutscene before you engage the boss. This boss does require some movement from the tank. This is not a tank and spank boss. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull aggro, and you're going to run all the way back into this corner. You need to keep the boss on the perimeter here. And the reason why is because he will eventually start to, I don't know, vomit up these green puddles, and he will target members of the party. You can get targeted by that too. And if he stands in those green puddles, and they are quite large, he starts to get a heal over time. So as the tank, it is your job to A, point the boss away, because he does have a line AoE, a line attack, which we want pointed toward the outside so our party doesn't have to deal with it. And B, we need to be aware of these green puddles. And now he's going to cast one here. Now, in theory, this is how this fight is. There's the line attack that we want pointed toward the outside, by the way. In theory, this is how the fight is supposed to work. You pull the boss to the perimeter, and your team stays in the middle, and the green puddles will usually target the team, and you won't have to worry about the boss standing in the puddle. See how it targeted somebody else that's over there and the puddles are not, and he's not standing in the puddles? That's what you want. If for some reason he casts it on you, or if you cast it on a team member that is very close to the dragon, then you need to move the boss. You can't let him stand in that green puddle because he will get healed. So he's going to cast it again, and now you can see he still hasn't been able to stand in it just yet. So we're doing this fight pretty well. We're getting some good RNG on where those puddles are going. But if he is standing in them, it's your job as the tank to move him off. So there you go. It targeted me, and now I'm going to move over here, and the boss is going to follow me, and I'm going to make sure the boss is not standing in those puddles. Otherwise, we won't be able to kill him. And that's what you need to do for this boss. So that is the end of Brayflox's Longstop. I hope you found the video helpful and useful. Probably one of the more helpful videos on the channel for this particular level. If you didn't find it helpful, I'm sorry. I tried my best. Maybe there's another video on the channel that you would like more. Either way, we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!